We now know who the starting quarterback for the Ole Miss Rebels is going to be after having a long discussion about a two-quarterback situation and which one LSU was going to prepare for. We don't have to worry about that, at least at the beginning of the game.
Shocker of the century, guys. It's going to be Trinidad Chambliss. Look, we were playing interviews on Tuesday, and I don't remember if it was Patrick Payton or Mansour Delane, but I asked about the two-quarterback system. He goes, well, I mean, the guy we're pretty sure starting, like he's the runner and everything. They've been preparing for this guy all week long. Like, I kind of feel like we all saw this coming.
They ready.
It's the right move by Ole Miss. It is. Like, Simmons hasn't been bad, but he certainly hasn't been great. He already had 4 interceptions on the season. When we saw him come in a couple of games ago, he threw a pass, but he could barely walk out there. I mean, he was spatted as heavy as you possibly could be.
Right.
The last thing that you would want is your quarterback is a sitting duck against this LSU defense. It makes all the sense in the world. And Chambliss has been playing great as well. Like, you know, relative to who the opponent has been, he's taken advantage of what they've given him. Now, Arkansas's defense isn't great. I haven't done a deep dive into Tulane's defense really to be able to tell how good they are.
Yep.
But to his credit, he's come in and he's made a ton of plays. He's made them with his arm. He's made them with his legs. And I would want somebody that could create on their own if I'm having to go against this LSU defense.
Yeah, so I'm watching him play, and a great name, by the way. He doesn't do a lot of creating in the passing game. So I haven't seen him drop back to throw and create that way. What they're doing is they are purposefully running him on a lot of quarterback sweeps, a lot of read options, a lot of jet sweep read option. So most of the yardage he's getting with his legs is on purpose. There's not a whole lot of creating he's doing with his legs. Now, let me tell you, there's a lot of he's had a lot of yards, and there's a big caveat for me watching this kid play. Yes, he is fast. Yes, he is dangerous. You have to be disciplined on defense, or he can gash you.
Yeah.
But if you are disciplined, this guy cannot beat you. He's playing well, but Arkansas's defense is bad. Like, bad. I don't know what their stats is. I've watched this game, Ole Miss versus Arkansas. They are not a good defensive football team. And he took
When you
advantage.
say two bads, it's like when we say fast.
Yeah, they're bad. Like people running wide open all over the place. They can't cover one-on-one. And so what Lane Kiffin did in this game was he barely threw the ball in the first half.
Yeah.
I think the kid ends up with over 300 yards passing. But they barely threw the ball in the first half. And so what does that make you do? It makes you load the box, create one-on-one matchups, and they took advantage of that because they just couldn't cover.
Right.
But I don't see a lot of dynamic plays that he's making with his feet in the passing game. From a passing standpoint, yes, he's made some reads, but Lane Kiffin's called some really good, set up some really good plays, and they've taken advantage of him. I'm not going to say he's the greatest passer in the world. Even a lot of the passes he hits, a lot of it's back shoulder, a lot of it's underthrown, but they're just so wide open. Like, there's some plays out there, but if LSU plays defense disciplined, if they stay in their gaps and don't allow them to kind of trick you from a zone read standpoint, that you don't allow them to get that extra blocker in there on a quarterback sweep. If you knock that out, you knock that option out, this kid cannot beat you.
Arkansas is 12th in the SEC in passing yards per game. They are 14th in total yards per game, and they're 14th in total points per game given up, and they are 15th in rushing yards per game given up, to your point about Ole Miss's offensive success against Arkansas. Now, Ole Miss's success does lead to that, obviously. That helps. But Ole Miss, though, is dead last in the SEC in rushing yards given up per game. Right now, they are in last place in the SEC by 33 yards. Arkansas gives up 157.5 on the ground per game at 15th. Ole Miss gives up 190.5 yards per game on the ground. Now, we all know LSU at times has struggled to run the football. Can they take advantage of that? You're going to be like Hayden Durham sounds like he's a game time decision. I don't really know where his health is. It's an ankle on a running back. I don't have any inside information, but it feels like it's going to be, I don't want to say a long shot, but it would be maybe a surprise if he is able to go. Can you take advantage of them being the worst rushing defense in the SEC by 33 yards? Sorry. 43 yards. I keep saying 33.
So is that the average?
No, 33. Yeah.
The average yards given up in a game.
190 and a half, yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, you better. I mean, you have to get, like, if you want to get where you want to go this year as an LSU football team, you have to get the running game right. There's just there's no other way around it. Like, there's no other clear way to state it. If you want to win a national championship, you have to have a running game. So if you're not going to have a running game versus statistically the worst running defense in the SEC, how do you think you're going to fare against not the worst running defense? So you have to get it going, and it does hurt that your starting running back is probably going to be out, but you got guys. You can
even
create.
if he's not out, he's still going to be limited, you would think.
Nothing is ever perfect in the beginning of a season. You're figuring out who you are. You have a good idea preseason. You have a good idea leading up to the season start. But there's always things to work on. That nothing is going to be perfect. And things you think are perfect sometimes at the beginning of the year really aren't. You just made a couple of plays and it really wasn't shored up. You got lucky a couple of times. There's things you have to get better on, and there's things you will get better on. There's things you must get better on if you want to accomplish the goals that you have set for your team. The running game must be fixed if you want to win a national championship. And that's the goal right now. That is the goal. The goal is not to be a great team. The goal is not to be a good team and have a successful year and have a winning record and only have 2 losses on the year. The goal is to win a national championship. They said it themselves before the season started. That is the goal. They are not apologizing for that goal, and they shouldn't. But if you want to do it, you better figure it out, and you better figure it out quickly because the schedule is ramping up right now. And we know LSU's talented. We know they're good. But to our point earlier in the show, with the record that the opponents that you've beaten have to date, we really don't know how good this team is. We think they're really good. We think they have the potential to win that national championship. Well, now it's time to prove it.
Now there's some chat going on in our Bayou 4 chat, and this team is different from the Les Miles teams that had incredible defenses, and you just hope the offense can make a play, like kind of what we're talking about here. This is just an offense that has made some plays. They can certainly make more. They certainly have not hit their stride yet, but it is a different feeling than when you would watch those teams under Les. They were going to play smothering defense, but it looked like it was either illegal or very painful to throw a forward pass. This isn't that.
This isn't that at all. I mean, this is an offense that has maybe not this year's, but the same players last year have proven to be explosive and to be able to make those plays. And there's talent oozing everywhere. So, and coaches with the mindset of throwing it. So how much did we don't even talk about the torso thing, but how much did that play a role? Well, it doesn't matter. But again, things at the beginning of the year, there's always stuff to work on, to get better, to fix, and you always improve. So it's time to start hitting that stride, but that running game has to improve. And what a good week it would be against the Ole Miss Rebels.
If you're wondering where LSU ranks as far as giving up yards on the ground, they're 3rd in the SEC, 64 yards on the ground per game. Points per game, LSU is also 3rd in the SEC, only behind Texas at 7.8, Oklahoma at 9, and you're giving up 9.3 yards per game. As far as passing yards, I believe last time I checked, you were 7th in the SEC, and you're giving up only 182 yards through the air, but certainly being very stingy on the ground. Total yards, you were 4th in the SEC, only giving up 246.3 total yards per game. So LSU defense certainly has been dominant. Certainly it's been incredibly dominant when it comes to stopping the rushing attack, and that's what Ole Miss wants to do first and foremost. And so we'll see which one of those is going to win out in Oxford.